Welcome to Equipping the Corps. Logistics plays a critical role in the Marine Corps' continued efforts to modernize and adapt for the future fight. On today's show, I'm happy to have Verne Ashby Jr., Assistant Program Manager for Logistics supporting PM Infantry Weapons, a team whose work impacts each and every individual Marine. Welcome to the show, Verne.
Thank you, Morgan. It's great to be here.
Can you tell us a bit about your role as the APM for Logistics?
As the Assistant Program Manager for Logistics, I have a couple primary targets at PM Infantry Weapons where I'm currently assigned. I work to ensure that the PM, Colonel Mark Braithwaite's equities for logistics across the 12 integrated product support elements are covered down on for those acquisition programs assigned to us. The other target is I work with the PMIW teams, and this is probably the primary focus, working with the PMIW teams to ensure appropriate and traceable logistics planning occurs so that safe, ready, and supportable systems are ultimately provided to Marines worldwide.
So you work with, how many logisticians would you say are on your team? I would assume that you have a pretty big team to support the entire PMIW team.
Yeah, PM Infantry Weapons in its current construct is comprised of 5 team leads and 1 PDM.
Okay.
So there's at least one logistics management specialist assigned to each of those teams. Additionally, we have matrixed equipment specialists and 2 supervisory logistics management specialists positioned down in Albany. There's contract support subject matter experts also. There's quite a few different people working in the logistics domain at PM Infantry Weapons.
It's a large team. You said matrix logisticians?
So here in Quantico, so we've got, again, two areas. You've got up here in Northern Virginia in Quantico, you've got the structure we talked about before the interview, but also in Albany, Georgia, you've got one supervisory logistician for optics, weapons, and anti-armor systems.
Okay.
Then you have another supervisory logistician in Albany assigned for infantry combat equipment, air and amphibious assets. So you've got those 2 groups, and they're matrixed by team to the teams up here.
It makes sense to have someone from our team down in Albany at LogCom because we probably work closely with them.
Yes, we do. That's right.
How long have you been in this role as APM?
I've been the Assistant Program Manager for Logistics since, 2 reorgs ago, since 16.
Okay.
So what was it? Summer of 16, I think it was. Yeah, summer of 16 in my current capacity.
So a good bit. How long have you been at Syscom?
I started in 06. I was a contract support type of logistician. Did that for 2 years and then got picked up on the government side in 2008. So I've been working since 2008 at capacity.
At Syscom?
Yes, ma'am.
Although I find that a lot of people that start here, they end up staying. They like it.
Yeah.
Did you know that you wanted to go into logistics? I know you said you started on the contract side.
And my story is not unique in the fact that, I served 20 years in the Marine Corps. So in my capacity, serving during those right over 20 years, I was part of the ground ordnance maintenance community. And I was involved in the maintenance management of self-propelled howitzers initially, diesel and hydraulic. And later, 1991 forward, fire control systems and electro-optical assets, glass, thermal, image intensification, and laser devices. I ended up completing my tour of duty at the Marine Detachment at that time at the U.S. Army Ground Ordnance Maintenance Center Center of Excellence, if you will, in Aberdeen, Maryland. That's now Fort Lee. And I may be getting the name wrong, but Fort Lee, Virginia is where they are now.
So you went from, we just had a gentleman on the show on EOD. So that was your original background, was explosive ordnance?
No. Ground ordnance items,
ground
such
ordnance.
as tanks, howitzers, machine guns, all your optics. They also have an element of machinists also.
Okay.
It's the 2100 occupational field area of effort. Still with us today.
I would have to say that you like being a logistician.
Well,
you've been doing it.
Yeah, it's fulfilling work. It seems like I've been training for it in one capacity or another since I started and joined the Marine Corps in '86.
Yeah.
It's all added up.
it builds upon each.
Yes, ma'am.
So you work within PM Infantry Weapons. Can you give us an overview of that portfolio?
Sure. As I stated, PM Infantry Weapons, in its current construct, is composed of multiple team leads and one PDM. We cover down on about 300 different table of authorized material control numbers, or assets, if you will, TAMSONs, overall representing really a significant aggregated authorized acquisition value. Number aside, it includes weapons, optics, air and amphibious assets, and infantry combat equipment and varied support equipment. Some of the new systems, or more recent systems that we've been working on that have been in the acquisition, independent logistics assessment, and fielding decision cycle over the last year or two include the Mark 22 Advanced Sniper Rifle, the Amphibious Assault Safety Boat, the Multi-Role Anti-Armor, Anti-Personnel Weapon System, MAWS, the Squad Common Optic, the Squad Binocular Night Vision Goggle, SPNVG, the Plate Carrier Gen 3, PC Gen 3, Protective Armor Suite, tropical uniforms, ski program assets, and other assets. Relative to pre-ACAT, we've got various weapons, optics, anti-armor, air and amphibious systems, about 13 other pre-ACAT kind of levels of effort that are ongoing in the office now.
Your team has been busy, very busy.
I mean, there's so much stuff going on. I'm going to piss everybody off if I pick one and talk about it too much. So I'm just going to shotgun blast it, because I thought about that as I was, making notes to myself. There's a lot going on that I'm not even saying.
Are there any unique challenges you see in the acquisition logistics world?
Acquisition logistics is it's planning heavy, and the results are born and seen after you've fielded everything worldwide to a large degree. So many of the concepts, the acquisition framework concepts that we're tied to here, they get proven out Marine Corps wide. But basically, I work with the program management teams and the logisticians that are assigned to PM Infantry Weapons to ensure that appropriate and traceable logistics planning occurs, so that, again, safe, ready, and supportable systems are ultimately provided to Marines worldwide.
So you might say that the work that we're doing here in logisticians are sometimes just behind the scenes, like the unsung heroes getting gear out to Marines, because there's so many pieces that go into the logistics side, not just getting it from point A to point B. It's all the pre-planning, doing it within the contracts, all the background work that goes into it.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, frankly, don't anyone listening take this the wrong way. Past logistics, the IPT structure that we work in with the program management side, the engineering side, the finance, the contracts, and of course, logistics, it all has to dovetail up into a cohesive final product. Yeah. So logistics is, of course, one part of that cohesive final product that, based on the roles of responsibility assigned to the logistics competency, we're doing in-service management from the standpoint, at least, of having our ears directly to the rail as logisticians. And then as problems are identified, we keep our ears to the rail. As problems are identified, we apply some analysis against the problem that's found as an IPT, not just logisticians. Of course,
a whole team effort.
Yes, ma'am. We apply some analysis against it. We select, plural, courses of action, and then we pick a course of action. That's the structure of really all of our problem solving, whether it's pre-fielding or post-fielding.
Do we work closely with logisticians in the field as we're fielding equipment, or is it mainly down at LogCom or just within our office?
The work we do here in Northern Virginia, here at Quantico, as combined with our partners in Albany, Georgia, ends up manifesting Marine Corps wide.
Yeah.
So it's a constant cycle of listening, communicating, addressing problems with analysis, selecting multiple courses of action to solve, and then selecting one course of action to move out with. it's a constant cycle amongst all of us.
Contested logistics has been a very hot topic lately. What role does that play in the work you're doing in PM Infantry Weapons?
We are in the crux of change right now. And from a change management standpoint, you're going to have those that deny the change, disagree with it, ignore it, and in some that embrace the reaching out to do things associated with the change. So it's a change management drill. And the answer I'd give you respectfully is that it comes from our leadership. The headquarters Marine Corps, the Commandant. I mean, you've heard different takes on the consideration that modernizing is an imperative and that our Corps is tied to adapting from the streamlined and efficient supply chains that we've always been familiar with in the past to more resilient sustainment approaches going forward. In that spirit, and really considering expeditionary advanced base operations, PMIW has started to move towards considering and actually applying some of these concepts that synchronize with changes kind of required. The change in strategization, the change in thinking, it's required. Change occurs over time, and we've gotten an early start over the last couple of years. We have been slowly but surely weaving in those differences into what we do day to day. We were involved in this is a year plus ago, we were involved in the Naval Advanced Manufacturing Product Improvement Exercise. Okay. It was funded by Hire. They were going around gleaning, different information to feed into the repositories and record-keeping systems that are just standing up now. So we've been slowly but surely, trying to move in to what's next versus just, sticking with what's comfortable and doing the same thing over and over again, which is good for a time, but now's the
Eventually
time.
You have to evolve and try new things. And I think it's good to reiterate that change does take time, because I feel that sometimes everyone wants it to happen instantly, and it doesn't happen that way. You have to it takes time, especially to change people's minds. And
it's a deliberate move forward. It doesn't happen magically. There's no one that's going to show up and, dump a bucket of newness on you so that you start doing everything different. You have to get invested and then move forward in increments. That's what we're doing right now and have been for a couple of years.
Is there anything you'd like to see from industry to continue supporting the Corps' modernization as it relates to logistics?
In my experience here at the command, industry isn't necessarily the problem or a hindrance to keeping us back. The hindrance is how we register and memorialize our thinking and our plan before we cut a contract. Most of the problems I've seen occur because there were things not in a contract. Again, this goes back to the use of the IPT structure. If two individuals from two competencies, even if it's two logisticians, and you have to use the IPT structure in an informed way, in a deliberate way, to shape your plan and give that information to industry. They know more about the gear that they're selling than we do about the gear that we're acquiring, generally speaking.
They're the SMEs. Does your office or do logisticians within the command work closely with industry the same as our PMs or the PIFMs?
We don't know what we don't know. And if our market research is only looking in one direction, you may miss something off on the periphery.
Even if you think it's small, in the end it's big.
Well, you don't know what you don't know is what I've found. And we find these things out after we've gone to contract. The Marine Corps, and particularly Marine Corps Systems Command, has significant leverage through the guidance we've all been provided to compete. There's value that comes out of competition. Leveraging that value before you go to contract and you've got multiple offers vying for the business case to make their money and do what they must do, it's a window of opportunity that we miss sometimes. Many times we catch it.
Yeah.
But the plan that the team has in place should always encompass views from the IPT structure, so you don't come out the back end, go to contract, and you didn't use the leverage that you had during that competitive
and then
window.
Ask, where's the maintenance? Where's the logistics within the contract?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Yeah. Even though you're within GCS and within PMIW, does your team work closely with any of the other PIFMs or any of the other teams?
We do. For many of our sustainment equipment equities, in the past, we've worked with LCES, PM SMS.
Okay.
We've worked with them. We've also worked with the Army, who is the peak on many of our products. Not all of them, but many of them. So we synchronize from a logistics standpoint. We do synchronize and coordinate with them on Marine Corps sustainment test equipment requirements.
Okay.
And hopefully on the back end of acquisition that we participated in with the Army, we engage appropriately along the way so that on the back end we get what we expect. So it's always a challenge, if you're working with other services that are, let's say, the peak of the primary inventory control activity for that program, but they're natural challenges. And at the end of the day, the other service, they gain a benefit from lower pricing based on the quantities that we buy.
Yes.
So weave in our requirements early and up front with the other service so that you have something to manage versus just asking later.
It saves money in the long run as well, because if we're using another service's piece of gear or equipment and it's already gone through testing, that saves some. We can look at their testing as well, and it saves time, and we can get it out to Marines faster.
That's right.
Yeah. As the APBM, do you have any advice you would give to junior level logisticians or someone looking to join the field?
Yeah, just recognize that there's so many facets to it. You've got the 12 integrated product support elements. Team logistics management specialists are responsible for all those 12 elements for the programs they're assigned. Many programs don't include all 12, but there's a lot to see about and there's a lot to do. So what I'd recommend to really any newer logistician is, number one, read. Number two, always read the contract and be involved in the crafting and the build of that contract before it's resolved.
Now let's talk about you. Earlier, we touched on your career a little bit, that you were in the Marine Corps.
Yes, ma'am.
And you've been here since around 2006,
yes.
2008. I'm assuming that you've moved your way up within Syscom. So have you been a logistician the entire time you've been at Syscom?
Yes.
Yes.
I was a support contractor logistician. Then in I want to say 2008, got picked up by the command on the government side, and I was a team logistician.
Okay.
And then after, I want to say a year and a half or 2 years of that, I became the lead logistician. That was at the time, it was at PDM Optics, I think, or PDM Optics and Non-Lethal. I forget, we keep changing names so much.
Have you been in GCS the whole time, or have you moved around a bit?
I spent a short time in LCES at Combat Support Equipment,
okay.
PDM for Combat Support Equipment. I spent about 5 months at the Pentagon at what's now DES and Sustainment. But other than that, I've been in the portfolio that I'm in now in its various names and fashions the remainder of the time.
So before you became a logistician, let's go back to the beginning. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I'm from Los Angeles originally.
Okay. Yep. So did you join the Marine Corps out of Los Angeles?
Yes, I did.
Did you go to San Diego or Lejeune?
San Diego.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the guys that are at some place along the Mississippi River, which is the cutoff for which side you go to, they had choices. I didn't have a choice, and it's fine.
They just sent you.
Well, yeah, I went to San Diego, and it was fine. In San Diego, many Marines will tell you, you don't miss any days for training. I think I saw 2 bugs at one point, and they were flying east.
It's a good spot. I've never heard anyone complain about having to go to San Diego.
No.
Yeah. So your dad played basketball at USC, from what I saw, and your mom was the first woman division chief for the LA County Sheriff's Department in the 90s. That's a big deal. Do you want to talk about your parents at all?
Yeah, they're good parents. They fed me. They let me stay till I was 18. Yeah, they always provided a great example of the importance of education. They both have higher degrees past the baccalaureate level. That was their focus. So it wasn't my focus at that time.
Yeah,
I didn't get my degree until I joined the Marine Corps. I had other focuses, or so I thought. But they were always a great example.
Since your dad played basketball, did y'all play basketball a lot together?
No.
No?
So by the time I was born, he just graduated college, and he'd be working. I played with the neighborhood kids. whoever was in the area.
Where can we find you when you're not here?
Whether it's traveling with my wife and family, quiet though it's kept, doing yoga with my wife.
I love yoga.
Yeah, and it's just thoughtful stretching. But traveling at home with family, pretty quiet.
Do you still have family in California?
My parents are still there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've got an aunt and a cousin there. Say they're in San Diego, I believe. Then I've got another cousin up in Northern California. Last I checked, up in San Jose or Berkeley or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever make it out there?
I was out last year. I'm usually out there once a year. My wife is a professor at Northern Virginia Community College. She's also very supportive in so many ways to just like other wives of folk here at the command.
Yeah.
In the time we spend and the level of effort we put forward. So as a Marine wife, she's transitioned well into being a civilian Marine's wife. I'll put it like that.
She sounds great. Okay. Now we're on to the most exciting part, the lightning round questions. Okay, first question. What's your favorite TV show, book, movie, or podcast?
So book is Sun Tzu, Art of War.
Okay.
Podcast, I don't have a favorite podcast. I guess this one would be my favorite podcast.
I'll take it.
Yes, ma'am. So TV show, I don't really have a favorite TV show. I read more than I watch TV. There are a lot of good things out there. I couldn't quote a favorite TV show.
Okay. If you can have an unlimited supply of anything, what would you want?
Probably time with my family.
If you could travel anywhere right now, where would you want to go?
Maybe back to Southern California, visit my folks.
Do you have a favorite season?
Yeah, favorite season would definitely be summer, fall, winter, and spring. I like them all.
You like them all?
Because I'm here. Yeah.
You get all the seasons here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
Okay, you're very welcome. I appreciate you having me, and thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Equipping the Corps. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcasting platform or on social media. We'd love to hear from you.